Oh, what a catch. That's an unbelievable catch by Roger Binny.
Roger will dive right in. So Ayaz, this is a very informal kind of, we thought we'll start with the, of course, the '83 World Cup, which you were leading wicket taker, and Ayaz was one of the few journalists who saw everything happen live. You were leading wicket taker, and of course, you got the all-important wicket of Clive Lloyd. The big match player. Yeah. How do you look back after these 40 years since you won the World Cup? If you look back at that World Cup, what are your thoughts and feelings?
Well, it doesn't seem that long ago, 40 years. So it's very fresh, and the what really comes to mind is the situation that we were in before we started the World Cup. If you sit back and think that no one gave us a chance. Even we didn't have that confidence after what happened to us in the previous two World Cups. So we were a little bit low, but as things went on. I put it to the first game. That's where everything turned around and changed for us. And as a team, that's what really kick-started us for the World Cup. And at the right time, we did it.
But what I wanted to ask Roger now about the 1983 World Cup, it seems like yesterday, Roger. But now when you look back, was it the combination that really made such a big difference? Because you seem to, it was like a jigsaw puzzle where everything fell into place finally when you look back. Not when you started the tour.
That's right. Yeah. No, I think you're right. It's a combination. The team that was picked. The playing 11, which we were able. If you look at the World Cup matches, a lot of matches we won from the back half of our batting. Chipping in the 20s, 30s. We see a lot of the games. We may have had a poor start. But not had too many runs, but. Once we went to 5, 6, 7, 8, everybody contributed. You see, so I think the all-rounders in the team that really created what we actually achieved. If you look back at the scores and the matches, and that's what really set us apart from the rest of the team.
Only player in the squad who didn't play a match was Sunil Walson, right? And so there was a time when they thought you had a niggle. And you may not play. And, Sunil Walson was said that he's going to play. And the next morning, you passed the fitness test. And so they would say, ask Sunil Walson. And he said, I don't mind, but he's the nicest guy. Roger's the nicest guy. So I want him to play, So you were like, the nicest guy of the team. And I remember Srikanth, when he always, when you guys get together, always refers to you as Rumi. So there was a lot of how would I put it? A camaraderie between all of you guys, which was amazing.
Yeah, but I think I also feel sorry for Sunil Walson. Because coming on a tour and then after winning the World Cup, you look back, this poor guy didn't get a chance. But if you take, the best 11 had to be played. The only drawback with Sunil Walson was he was a specialist bowler. You see. He wasn't. If he was good with the bat, he may have replaced one of us when we had some bad matches. But that didn't happen. Because he being a specialist bowler, I think it's you're better off having a person who can do bat and can bowl a little bit, an all rounder in the team. So that's why he missed out probably with the volley. Yeah, that is my.
I'm just going to jump from that to the present squad and then probably come back to your era. You said about specialist bowlers and all-rounders. India is going to the World Cup. BCCI has chosen 11. The squad. Now you have specialist bowlers like your Bumrahs and your Sirajes and your Shamis. But you also you're talking about your time. In '83. Someone coming at 8 and 9, chipping the 20, 30, which eventually which is crucial. Do you think you've got the right balance now with the all-rounders, and how important does an all-rounder play in today? Not to be your era, of course, it's proved it was a huge success.
Yeah, well, you see, they've gone in with Thakur, Shardul Thakur. He's the one he showed you could bat a little bit. So that's why he's found a place in that in the 11 for a lot of matches. He's been playing. So they're looking at him. They also have Jadeja who can do both. They have Rahul is the wicketkeeper, and so that's a all-rounder supposed to gain. Bumrah, surprisingly, the way he batted against Pakistan in the game, I mean, he looked like a batsman. He looked,
Yeah.
So you can include him into that list also, and see what he does. Yeah, these specialisting all other teams. I mean, when we play the World Cup, there was a regular setup. They had two specialist fast bowlers, and then they had all-rounders were not really much taken into consideration at that point in time. I think it's India the one who really changed the attitude of teams from then going forward then onwards. But I think when you have people who can't bat, say if you lose 5 quick wickets, you have to depend on the next 5 to come and perform. Then the last 2 people who are just specialist bowlers, I mean, that's going to be a bit of a setback for the team.
Yeah.
It's always better to have somebody who can contribute at least 10 runs in the partnership league, but 25, 30 runs. That sort of a thing is important. But having said that, I think all the teams now are going in with the specialist bowlers now. Especially fast bowlers.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you, Roger. I mean, while all-rounders play a invaluable role, and we've seen that in both our victories. In 2011 also, you had Yuvraj bowling and Sehwag and Sachin turning their arm over. But you also need those hardcore specialists because you need them to either make the runs at the top of the order or in the middle order or get wickets.
True. No, if you look at the job of specialist means what the team wants from him is basically to make those quick breakthroughs up front.
Right.
So if you can grab few wickets in the beginning, then it makes things easier for the slow down the batting process a bit late in the middle order. You see, so that is the actual job of a specialist. But I think having two specialists is a luxury, but 3 I think is too much. Yeah, you can't have 3. I mean, you need somebody. You need right up to number 9 who can contribute to the bat, especially in one-day format. Yeah, I think that he'll be an important man over there. Like if you see what happened to us, Kirmani and Sandhu, Madanlal and myself, all of us chipped in most of the games. You see the final also, you saw Kirmani chipped in with Sandhu and chipped in again with Madan towards the end. Kirmani chipped in that 175 with Kapil Dev, though he only scored 10 runs with Kapil Dev, got 100. 100 runs with the partnership. So that I think that is an important area. But again, specialists, you have to have a specialist also to get those quick wickets for you up front.
And also, Roger, you're part of the 83 World Cup. Like you said, there was absolutely no pressure, underdogs. You go there, a team with no expectations, playing away from home. And, then 87, right? After winning the 83 World Cup, the team is now looked at seriously. The other teams don't look at India lightly anymore. And 87, you're playing at home. There was a lot of pressure.
I think, like we say, 83, even as just said that, I mean, there's no expectations at all from the team.
Yeah.
Basically, people who expect to just go there and have a holiday and come back, that sort of a thing. That's what the expectation was. Yeah. So there was nothing, even the players also, there's no pressure on them really. But each one individually were trying to perform, Like I had come back, I was coming back to the Indian team at that point in time. In 83, I was called back. I was dropped from the West Indies tour, which happened just before the World Cup. So I was going to come back to trial. So and a lot of us were also trying to cement our places in the team, at that point in time. So when this happened, this happened outside India. When we won that, we automatically became favourites. So when we came after 87, everybody suddenly turned around fully. So you guys are going to win. You have to win. That's when the pressure came on the team. Playing on our conditions and expectations were so high. I mean, in the game of cricket, anything can happen. And we didn't have our strength there. For the World Cup, our medium pacers and fast bowlers got off most of the wickets. At least 75 to 80% of the wickets we got. You see, and that's not going to happen in India. Yeah. We had to rely on our spinners again. You see, to do that job. Yeah, and so that is the difference between that that World Cup and this one, where the spinners really didn't get the wickets for us.
Kapil was telling us, Ayaz, remember Kapil is saying, the pressure is like, when you're having breakfast in the morning, the guy was serving you tea, tells you, you got to win this game. You got to beat Pakistan. You got to beat them.
Everyone's involved.
Does that kind of add to the entire thing and brings in more pressure, which eventually can maybe bring the downfall of a side?
Yeah. Not. I mean, we learn to handle it. These how you handle that those issues. So that's really that's not a. I mean, it's not a worrying thing, because I mean, you once you get in that field, you just put everything aside and just play your game. So that doesn't really affect you.
Roger, interestingly, I mean, you've been part of a World Cup winning team, and then of course 2011 we won the World Cup in India. But there have been 4 other occasions where we've reached the final. 2003, 1996 we reached the semi-finals, we lost. 87 we reached the semi-finals, we lost. And the last 2 World Cups, 2019, 2015. So I mean, if you look at consistency, India is perhaps the most consistent team after Australia, or along with Australia. But somewhere it seems that we've just kind of had a setback even in the World Test Championship final.
Yeah.
4 in succession, 2021, 2023. So is there something that has been occupying? I mean, you've been a selector, you've been a player, now you're president of the BCCI. Is this something that is discussed and saying, what do we need to do to make that leap? That make it count. You go out there and win, and not,
I think the players are aware of it. I mean, they know. A lot of them have been in that situation before. When we lost in the semis and we lost in West Indies. We fared badly in that World Cup in the West Indies. But that was just in which one of those days it was. But that is a transformation which was taking place in the team at that point in time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, Ayaz, you see that today in the Asia Cup, right? You see our players and their players, like, you have Virat Kohli's and Babur Azam's, so close and getting along so well, But then, there are some who come and criticize it, saying that you're taking away the intensity of the situation. Is that fair? They are friends of the field. Of course, they're going to compete on the field. Just because they are friends of the field, being criticized, saying that you're taking away the intensity of the India-Pakistan thing. Is that a fair criticism in both your opinions? And Roger as a player, and Ayaz as someone who's covered cricket so much?
Well, being a sportsman, you got to acknowledge the other person. Okay. Now, it's not only with Pakistan. When you play Australia, we don't want to lose. We play England, we don't want to lose. We play New Zealand, you don't want to lose. You want to win. But like I said, against Pakistan, there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more because, again, from the pressure of everybody. Everybody is, like you said, the bear at the hotel is telling you something, the receptionist is telling you something, the bus driver is telling you something. Every fellow as you're walking through the ground, they'll be shouting at your ears. You have to win today. Jiteka. So that's the pressure of the game. I mean, that doesn't affect us as players, really.
Right, you had this India-Pakistan match, and there's now, in the Asia Cup. And it is only the India-Pakistan match which had a reserve day, which are kind of upset the other nations. How did that come about, Roger? In the sense, like only giving India a reserve day. Is there something which the BCCI had a role to play with, or how did it come about?
Basically, we were not around at that time. We had only left Colombo when this meeting took place. It was between the 2 teams. Who took this decision along with the organizers. That was the Sri Lankan Cricket Board. So they're the ones who sat down and discussed, since the conditions were atrocious. The weather was really bad. There's no way that I think after seeing the first game, we got washed out. So it was a decision taken by the team management and the host.
But the thing which I wanted to understand, Roger, is that you mentioned, and you've been a selector, the selection process has now become, there's so much scrutiny and there's so much work that goes in. Is there a rapport between the chief coach, the captain, and the chief selector? Or like in the old days, the selectors chose the team and the captain and the coach had to live with it?
Now normally what happens is the selectors and the captain meet up before the selection takes place for the match, and then we sit down and discuss, have a discussion over there on what the team wants. You see, so he gives us a few points of what we need, without mentioning much of names. But basically, like you say, you want some variety to the team. You want an off spinner, you want a leg spinner, you want whatever you want. So that discussion will take place between the captain.
Yeah.
Captain, yeah. So that's what we normally do as selector before a match or before a tour. We sit down and discuss with the captain. I mean, captain sometimes comes in, but most times it's with the cricket coach.
Yeah.
Sit down, discuss, and then we take points from him. So when we sit in the meeting, we know exactly what the requirement is from the team point. So that's how we normally do it.
When you say requirements, does he say I want a leg spinner or does he name the leg spinner?
Yeah, he tells you what combination he needs, and if the post selectors think it's fine.
Yeah.
But if there's something that doesn't agree with the selectors, then we always pick that later on. I mean, with the coach and the captain, I think what the selectors wanted. But most cases we go along with what the captain and the coach wants. Yeah.
I'll ask the question because in the past I remember there used to be a TRDW, Talent and Research Development Wing. I think it was started by Mr. Jagmohan Dalmia, and then a lot of you had a rich crop of players coming through that pipeline.
Right.
The talent scouts would go and check out on players. Do you have something like that? Are you examining or re-examining the need for it?
Yeah, but I thought that system was really good because it helped to throw up a lot more cricketers. When you had some of the players, the coach, basically they used to watch games. They were past players themselves. They were able to identify a lot of young talent, and put them through the system where they come back into the National Cricket Academy and go through the system. So that's really helped. So in fact, I approached that subject again in one of our cricket meetings. And hopefully next season we're going to bring that back into place.
Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant.
That's a fantastic system, really.
So talking about the World Cup, Roger, Rohit Sharma, probably last World Cup. I don't know your views, Virat Kohli, I don't know your views on that. Shastri, I interviewed Shastri, this was I think in the month of April or something, and he told me very clearly, as far as Test cricket is concerned, we need the likes of these people. As far as white ball cricket is concerned, he said seniors are ready to be phased out. So do you see this World Cup, 2023 World Cup, probably the last World Cup of the likes of Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and because we got a 2024 T20 World Cup coming up, and so how does the BCCI, first from the BCCI point of view, and secondly from your own personal point of view?
We have looked at the other countries. You look at Australia, New Zealand, you look at England. I mean, they've had great success with three different formats. The T20, the T20, the one day, and your Test cricket. We had three different teams, and you definitely need young players in the T20 format. People who perform. And now with the IPL going on, we have the bench strength to have. We started, let's see, the West Indies tour. We had all young players going. That's what we look at in the future. That we have three formats and give the players also a bit of a rest. With a lot of them need to be rested. I mean, you're definitely going to save a lot of injuries with this. People are getting injured because they're playing too much, and they can't cope with these three playing so much of cricket.
So are we going to see a completely new young India in the 2024 T20 World Cup?
Well, it'll be the India's best team. Yeah, you probably will have. If some one senior player fits into that slot, I mean, you can't deny that. And if you think he's going to contribute, basically it's all about fitness. That's important. Someone who can fit. Can fit in the fitness with the rest of the team. You can take your best player and go. I mean, you can have one player, two players playing in all the formats.
So how does the BCCI look at it? How do you balance a player's load?
We just discussed that. In fact, we just discussed the three formats are going to take a load of the players. We've got to reduce the load by picking three different teams for the different formats. This thing definitely will be solved. Yeah, but franchise for the IPL franchise wants his best team playing. He can take his for the 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. He can take his best players, India's best players, and play with them. But the rest of it is for us to determine their fitness and give them their schedules.
So in that context, Roger, I would ask. They say the world, the Test Championship happened. It happened soon after IPL. So if you tell the IPL franchise, you can have your best players 6 weeks. But the problem is India needs those players in 10 days after that. So how do you handle that? It's a delicate situation.
Yeah, and everybody is aware. The strain the players had been through. After the IPL, and then they had to play the bilateral series also. Before the test ships. Yeah. So it's not you not only had the IPL, so you didn't give them a chance to take a break in between that. So we will have to. It's already been discussed. We had reviews on that World Test Championship and then the T20 World Cup in Australia. We had a review on that also. The same thing happened there. We sort of we didn't really perform to our full potential in the T20 in Australia. So reviews have been taken, and now we just have to sit on wait for this World Cup to go through it, and then start to chalk out things and try and make the best use of these players.
Okay, so Roger, so we talk about this thing. Now I think you being the BCCI president, you got a very tough job. Ben Stokes, a few weeks back, spoke about English players, and he said, I'm the captain of England, but he totally understands if a player says that, listen, I want to earn a living, I'll just play franchisee league. I can play for South African franchise league. I can play for the IPL. When Saudi starts, I can play for Saudi. I can earn a living that way and have a comfortable life. And he's totally okay with that. How do you address that issue specifically? Forget first, in a worldwide phenomena, and then India specific.
Upmost in anybody's mind as a cricketer is country. Play for your country. That's important. I mean, to play when we play test match, something out of this world. That's what we all grew up for. Start playing the game. So I think now things have changed. I mean, there's so much of more cricket around the place. There people have more opportunities to go and play elsewhere. So you just said, that if you don't get a chance for your national team, I mean, you have opportunities elsewhere. So it's left to the player, if he's going to make it stay in his territory, and because he earns enough money anyway in these places. At certain point in time, money doesn't really matter, in a player's career. When he's trying to make it up, taking it up to the international level. See, and nowadays, since IPL has come in, there's no short of funds anyway for good players. So he can be kept at home. But again, Ben Stokes' view again, fine. See, man, they're all professional cricketers. India probably last 10 years we become totally professional. 10 or maybe 12 years back. Otherwise, all of us had most of us worked in offices, and we did a day job, and then practice in the evening and played cricket on those days. So they're totally professional. That's what's going to happen to Indian cricket also. Now they don't need to hold on to the job. They're going to be totally professional. So I mean, it's up to them whether they've got the mindset or the pride to play for your country, or you want to go and do it elsewhere.
But can BCCI play a role in that? Because you being the BCCI president, can you play a role in that? In safeguarding national interest as against players' interest for them.
Well, see, we've already done it. It's already there that you can't play another league.
Correct.
Anyone playing the IPL cannot. It's already been set in the rules over there already. So the players can't get out and play. In the future, when things happen, we have to probably sit down again and discuss.
Just imagine a Saudi league where there's no dearth of money there. They can offer some guy 20 crores saying, you play the T20 league in Saudi, as against you play for the nation. The chance of getting into the national team is 50-50, but this is your guaranteed 20 crores and your life is set. The temptation might be there with your generation about the country.
They're doing it in football. Saudi is
doing it. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The football they did with golf. Live golf has also done it with So see, once this happens, and once a player, if he decides to go there, I mean, all his ties from cricket are cut off in India. It's very clear with them. Yeah. They cannot play any domestically. You cannot play anything. You can't play the IPL. You can't do anything. So that's
the vision of the BCCI is clear.
Yeah. They're very clear with their views. I mean, if you want to go there and do, then you go and you leave and go, and that's it. You can't come back to cricket in India. It's already there. It's already set. The rules are set. You can't change them.
Yeah. So talk about the BCCI. I asked Kapil this question. He said, who should form the BCCI? He said, the players should play a vital role in BCCI. He also, in the same breath, said that in a country like India, a politician should be there because to get something passed, you need a politician there. What's your thing? And you were talking about, players going in, this scouting for talent and all that. The role of cricketers, former cricketers and present cricketers is, definitely there. Do you think people from outside cricket should be part of, administration or anything, according to your view?
The system is like that. It's an elected body.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to follow. And if you're a member, you can get an election, and you can come to a cricketer can come into a committee. Nowadays we are taking cricketers most of the states. If you want to play for the country, automatically you become a member of the association. Quite a few of them are.
Right.
So that gives you an opportunity at least to put your views forward.
Yeah.
Right.
But the house is open up for everybody. All administrators. I mean, some of them are top industrialists, top people who run the top offices they run. So, I mean, it's good for the game because cricket is such a big. It's a huge multinational,
Yeah.
bigger than that. I mean, so much more than that. And we need people of that caliber also to be part of the system.
So you need different types of expertise. What you're saying,
Absolutely, yeah.
including cricketers who come in.
You need good finance people, yeah, but good administrators. You need cricket again to run cricketing things. The former cricketers have to be in the system. The cricket committees are excellent. You have so much of past knowledge. Cricketers who played. Such great cricketers we've had. India's produced.
You mentioned, I asked you. You said it's good for business people to be part of the board, or good for politicians to be part of the board because they all bring in their own kind of expertise, which helps run the board well, right? But one thing which we saw is if you look at the 2019 World Cup or the 2015 World Cup, venues were fixed a year in advance, dates were fixed, everything was fixed. One biggest upsetting thing for a lot of people was what happened now. In our World Cup, our venues were fixed, dates were being changed 2 months before the World Cup, for different reasons, right? Is that something? Was that a bit of a sour note as far as Indian BCCI is concerned?
I think one issue we have to look at here is the security. Something which we, if something happens, what happened in the IPL, we had some security issues we had. If something like that happens, then it's going to be a big black mark on Indian cricket. So you've got to look at a lot of things, and it's not that the dates, the venues have been changed, but the dates have to be revised. To keep these things in order. Because we don't want any small incident even to take place, which will tarnish our image. And India's got a huge image in cricket, and we look forward to staging a lot more World Cups and cricket also.
Right.
I think the issue was about fans. Fans, because you have to keep buying the ticket sales, and they're not available readily, easily. Whether it should be online, whether it should be physically. I mean, the earlier World Cups, we had tickets sold 6-8 months in advance because it's so huge, the World Cup. So I think that became a very irksome.
Yeah, that became the BCCI set this in order about, I think, a few years back. Where they said tickets should not be sold too much ahead of the matches. So you rather sell them closer to the matches, for various reasons. It was done. So I think basically the ticketing was all given to an agency to be sold, and the demand is so much. I mean, you take even in the KSA, we have 30,000 seats. We have, this is one example, and we can't stage a high pressure match like Pakistan and India now. Because other stadiums have got much more capacity. You look at Ahmedabad, we've got 110. Still, they need more tickets. They have another 110,000 people waiting to get to the stadium. Calcutta is the same. So the demand is too much over here, So we have to, tread slowly and cautiously, and give the fans the best. We've concentrated now a lot on the comfort of the fans.
Yeah.
In terms of in-stadia for them, in terms of security, in terms
The
of them.
experience of in stadia, no, for the fans, that I think is the
Yes. That this World Cup we have worked on that. We
okay.
worked on that too, to try and make things better, make life better in the stadium, because you're going to be there a little longer. If people are so used to sitting for T20, they're sitting 3.5 hours and go away. You're sitting almost 7 hours in the stadium.
Yeah.
It's a long day. So we looked at that, and there are a lot of going on in the stadium to try and make things more comfortable. Yeah.
As the BCCI president, you are arguably the most important figure in the sport. So, if you have to give us your vision of how to take cricket ahead as a sport? Is there a 3-point agenda that you would like to see, or 5-point? This is what needs to be done. And I must put you under the things that about Test cricket. How do we make sure that it survives, and not just survives but grows?
Yeah. I think number one priority is Test cricket. We got to somehow keep that going. And there's so many areas that you have to improve. You look at the last series, when the Test series, when England played Australia.
Yes.
The classic series. I mean, that's what's going to make Test cricket live.
Yeah.
So we have to do that in India too. I mean, you can't have no one comes to a match and watches one batsman bat the whole day and score 110 runs or something, and go on the next day to lunchtime batting, and one team gets 500, 600 runs. So they're also, it's not only you have to also look at the type of conditions they're playing on. Yeah, so that those areas all we are looking at into it.
But you're supporting what baseball theory, in a sense. You're saying that whatever is baseball, that kind of put more adrenaline into the game.
Yeah, exactly. We need to work. There's so many areas around that which helps. Yeah, and everybody's on the same boat. Probably the younger generation are not. They've grown up with this T20s and the rest of it. But the older generation, everyone is aware that Test cricket has got to be kept alive. Even when we go to an ICC meeting, this is what same thing spoken. We cannot let this thing go. We have to make it a little more interesting. Bring the crowds back into it. And the crowds are dying. Even the one-day cricket is also is dying. I mean, there's not much of one-day crowds in the one-day cricket. Pressure for the tickets in T20 game and a one-day game is totally different.
Yeah, totally.
T20, you can't get a ticket.
That brings me to the question, Roger. You played the World Cup when it was 83, when it was a 60-over game.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Then years later, it was 50. Do you see it going down to 40, or do you see this one day just going away and this T20 which is going to be there?
I think we have to find a formula game for the one day also. It can be worked. Something has to be a little more interesting. Something that will keep the crowds entertained. You can't have it close to a T20. The T20 is a different format altogether. That's totally different. At least the one days. There is a bit of you can play a bit of cricket over there. You don't have to slog everything. Initially, teams still play a lot of dot balls in one day cricket and come back. It doesn't happen. So I think the one day format also has to undergo a little bit more change. So they're working on it. The cricket committees are doing it. The ICC also. So probably something will come out, and the main concern is the test matches around. Yeah.
So Roger, going ahead, this World Cup, how do you see India's chances?
See, India after 83, every World Cup, India goes into their favorites. We've done excellently well we were just talking about so many semi-finals we've reached. We've come to a stage. We're definitely one of the contenders, and we've got the advantage now. We are playing at home. You see, home conditions. So I think it's a good. It's a good thing. The players also are confident. They have had a good Asia Cup so far. They're looking good in the field. But coming back home and playing the World Cup, that's when things got to be different for them. I mean, we'll see them. So, but I think the chances are good.
Chances would have been even better had we had a fit Rishabh Pant. What's happening with him? Can you talk about his present status?
He needs, I mean, the injury was quite serious, so he needs a little bit of time. And they're not pushing him too fast because, rather we let the World Cup go through. Because I think the little more longer he takes, he'll be better off. He's improved a lot, and he started his training and he started to work out. So he will. It's only a matter of time before he makes appearance again into the teams, especially his Delhi team and then the national team.
So do you see him? Like, obviously not, like you said, it's about your approach is correct, not to push him, to make sure he's completely healed. So would you say another year? Do you see him in the 2024 World Cup? But you're not looking at that. But you just
No, I know. They'll have to take it. Take it as time goes by. Like I said, he's been through his rehab. He started to do his training. So maybe at the start of the new season next year he'll be back again. That's what it may be. They said the same thing about Bumrah. We had to go slowly with him. So
Right.
World Cup is in our minds, but then you have to see how we delay him. Luckily with the IPL, we didn't allow him to play the IPL.
My final question is that you became. Were you aware or made aware that you'll become the BCCI president much before you became? And then what's been your experience so far? Your journey as the BCCI president? Has it been very satisfying? Was it very challenging? Very frustrating? Very painful? Whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I was the president of the KSA before I came into the
Right.
BCCI.
Yes.
I was doing my last term because I had already completed my quota, which the Lodha committee had. And I'd done 9 years of office bearers post in the KSA. So I was contemplating on a nice retired life with my farm. sit and do some farming and do something different from what I normally do.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, out of the blue, comes this request. Are you keen on office bearers post? That's all I was told. I said, yeah. I still had 3 more years anyway. I was 67 at that point in time. I said, I've got 3 more years, but I don't mind taking up something. I expect to do something in a cricket oriented thing, totally cricket oriented. I said, probably yes. I said, fine. And then little did I realize that I was going to be put on this big coaster in my lap, Yeah, I think I mean I was very happy to accept it. I mean I don't think in my dreams I would have thought I would have received something like this way as a cricketer. And I'm happy to accept it. I was happy that I could contribute.
Yeah.
You see, from my side, I mean, being a cricketer, I could contribute from my side of it, that point of view, and also, and I was able to to learn a lot more about the game. I mean, I know a lot more about the administration of the game, how it is done in other states, and try and put my sort of expertise into the game for them. Because a lot of new states have come inside. I mean, they hardly have any experience, hardly have any facilities. It's going to take a little bit of patience and time. And I think I can contribute in those areas also.
if you talk about India's most successful captain, it's MS, right? He's got a cricketing brain which very few have. Do you see will BCCI be using him in any way for the team or for the future of Indian cricket in any way at this point of time? Do you have a role for him, or is he agreed to something, or do you want a role for him?
Because he has so much to contribute to the game. All of them. Look at even Virat Kohli also when he finishes up. They have to come back into the game. I mean, probably they've got better posts to do as commentators or whatever it is.
Last I saw of him, Roger, he was playing golf with Donald Trump.
He's a great guy. Have you seen his collection of bikes?
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's amazing, I'll tell you.
He's a man
he's
of
got
strong passions, but very well defined.
Yeah.
Dogs.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I mean, he's for the rest of his life. I mean, he's got to be active.
Yeah.
It's important. Yeah. I mean, you can't be sitting and brooding or watching television the whole time in your house.
Yeah.
So he's doing the right thing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you also, you got many avenues to take your mind completely away, and you're an animal lover. You got a farm. You also play golf.
You definitely need that, yeah. Because you don't need to be You need to be stuck in the game the whole time, and then
And you're also doting grandfather now, so that's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. That keeps you occupied again. Yeah. At present, we're taking care of our grandson because his mother's in the community team in star sports.
correct.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
That's why I'm him at the moment. Yeah.
Lovely.
Mm.
Well, Roger, thanks so much for your time.